Hello, thank you very much for joining me on this channel again. I am Double Joy. You must have heard it several times that when you're doing an international travel, especially when you're coming to the United States of America, it is advisable to carry some documents with you. And one of those documents you are expected to carry with you will be what we'll be discussing in this video, and that is your driver's license. If you have your country's driver's license with you, and if you've been driving, it is good if you have it with you. That can save you a whole lot of stress by the time you get to that country you are going to. I must tell you that some places you visit, that even if the transportation system could be good, driving is still required for you to make life easy. And if you are in that country for months you cannot drive, it will definitely affect some things that you normally would have loved to do. So it is good to have your driver's license with you. It could save you a lot of time, it could save you a lot of money, it could save you a lot of stress. I'll be discussing some of those things you have to know in this video as we go on. Just relax, I'll be right back with you. Just like other countries in the world, you require a valid driver's license in the United States for you to be able to drive. But one very big thing that differentiates this country from most countries is that there is no single law or rules that govern everyone in the country in terms of driver's license, in terms of traffic, and even in the general sense of things. This country is very big, so every state runs autonomously, even though there are some rules that kind of like unite every state, but then every state has its own rules when it comes to traffic and when it comes to driver's license process and all that. So there is no general law, so you have to find out about your state, the state you are visiting, to know what operates there, because what operates in state A might be different from what operates in state B, and that's one thing that is quite different from other countries. That's what operates in the United States of America. You have to also ensure that you put that at the back of your mind. Just give me 1 second, I will be right back. Even though most states in the United States will allow you to use your out-of-country driver's license for the first 3 months in the country, that would at least help you to get things situated. This will work most of the time for people visiting for a long time. If you are going to school, students especially, for the first 3 months, obviously there are some documents you might not be having, but your driver's license from home will still allow you to drive in the country. And like I said earlier, you have to find out about what operates for the state you are visiting. Most states will allow you to drive with your out-of-state driver's license, and some states definitely will require that you have your international driving permit attached to it. International driving permit on its own is not a driver's license. It does not permit you to drive outside of your country. It does not allow you to drive either in the US. So you have to combine it with your driver's license. It's your driver's license that is doing the job. The international driving permit is just kind of like an accompanying document that is meant to translate your driver's license language to 8 other languages, and that makes it acceptable everywhere in the world that you take it to. So please note that there is no international driver's license. The international driving permit that is available is only allowed when you have your driver's license from your country together with it. Yeah, apart from the fact that your out-of-country driver's license will still allow you to drive in the United States for the first 3 months, it would also be very good to save you a lot of money by the time you want to obtain your driver's license. I'll tell you why. But just before then, let me quickly put up this disclaimer. If you would be driving with your driver's license from home, it definitely comes with some exceptions. There are some limitations attached to it depending on the states you are visiting. Some states would ask you to do some testing before you be able to obtain some kind of like permit to be able to drive with your out-of-country driver's license. And of course, if you have some medical conditions that would have some negative impact on your driving, you need to disclose that. because that's part of the things you have to do before you get your driver's license in the US. And you have to also ensure you disclose that before you start to drive, because that could, if you're not careful, if anything happens, that could be very very unfair. It could cause you a lot of trouble. So you have to also put that into consideration. And that's why I said the other time, the state you are visiting matters a lot. Study about them, study about that state and the laws to know what operates. There is no general rule anywhere, even if it is on the internet, that you can use your out of country driver's license. You have to find out if that state you are visiting allows that and what are the limitations from that state, so you'll be able to put that into consideration. Already, unlike in some places, in the United States, it's a big deal when you get your driver's license for the first time. People celebrate big time when they obtain their driver's license. It's actually a big deal. It is not something you just go there and come out and take it. You have to really go through some big deal to get it. You have to study very well. You have to know the road signs. You have to do the knowledge based test. You have to do the driving test. All of this is no joke, my dear. So you have to have that at the back of your mind. It's a big deal. It's an achievement, so to speak. Even for those that were born here, it's an achievement when you obtain your driver's license. So it's something very very huge that you have to also prepare very well for. So that tells you how very strict also the traffic law could be by the time you have your driver's license. So it's something to guard and guide very jealously by the time you obtain it. You have to know that before we go ahead, because I know some countries you can just go inside and come out and then you have your driver's license. But if you have a driver's license in the US, for instance, it shows that you can drive. It is not just sitting behind the wheel and take a car from one point to the other. It means that you know how to drive actually. You know the signs, you know when to stop, you know when to slow down, you know what this and that means. You know some basic things about the car you are driving also. And you know there are classes of driver's license too that tells the kind of car you can drive. So all of those things are put into obtaining driver's license. So that makes it a real deal by the time you have it. It's good you have that at the back of your mind, so you know driving here is a big deal. So let me just rush it very quickly. I don't want this video to go beyond 10 minutes. So one of the things that could actually make having your driver's license from home a big thing for you, that will make life easy, because you know we normally want to discuss things that will make life easy for you post visa issuance. When you get to that country, you know all of those things that you have to do for the first few months that will make things easy, that will make you struggle, that will not make you struggle like those that have been there before you. Those are the things we are discussing, and one of those things is having your driver's license with you. If you do not have your driver's license with you, it would mean that you will start the process of obtaining a new driver's license from the scratch, and that would definitely involve you going through a driving school. Going to a driving school in this country can cost you from the range of $200, which will be the minimum, the barest you can find anywhere, and up to $1,000 if not more to obtain your driver's license, to go to driving school. And it's not something you can do in proxy. You don't do it in proxy. You have to be there. You have to put in the hours. In the state of Maryland, for instance, it could take you about 30 hours of classroom study, classroom learning, and about 14 hours behind the wheel with somebody with experience, maybe 3 hours or so also at night. All those would affect your productivity to an extent, because you know all these trainings happen during the day. It means you will not be able to work up to the best capacity you should be able to work during the time that you are doing those trainings. You might not be able to do your 40 hours as required, because you have to put in some time also to do all those trainings. So to save you the stress, if you've been driving from home, come with your driver's license. That will save you the stress of going to a driving school. It will jump you start from when you do your knowledge based test to doing your driving test. So all the time in between, you'll be able to save that if you have your driver's license from home. One quick clarification is that your driver's license does not actually have to be uh, valid for you to be able to use it when you want to obtain your driver's license. But you have to know that when you are going to use it to drive, for the first 3 months that is allowed to use your out of country driver's license, it must be valid. It cannot expire at that time. But if you have an expired driver's license and you want to turn in that driver's license to obtain your driver's license in the United States of America, it doesn't matter even if it is expired at that time. What is actually needed is to be able to pull your driving record to know that this person actually has been driving from his home country, and and that will just save you the time in between when you have your knowledge based test and when you'll be doing your driving test. So you won't have to go to through the process of obtaining a learner's permit, going through driving school, because you actually have been driving. But that does not mean that you will not go through those tests. You will still have to learn the signs, you have to learn the rules, because these rules and signs are well important. You have to learn them. Those are things that make you know how to drive properly. If you go through this process, guys, you understand that it's actually necessary for you to be able to know all this. When you see a sign, you know what it means. When you are driving and something happens, even in your car, what the basic things in the car, you are familiar with them, because those are the things you read and study when you are preparing for your knowledge based test, and when you are also preparing to drive. What sign to press, what those buttons are meant to do in your car. And that is one thing again that is missing from most other countries. You just whenever you can move a car from one point to another, you can just go in and get your driver's license. It does not happen like that in the United States, and so you have to appreciate the fact that you go through that process. I am sure you will by the time you start to do it. But it will shorten the length of having to do that. It will make things easier for you if you have your driver's license brought from home, if you have been driving before. If you have not driven before, if you do not know how to drive, do not skip that process. It will still play back on you eventually. It will haunt you at the end of the day, because if you jump through the process, by the time you do your driving test, it will show that you don't know how to drive. So follow the process. Even if you are bringing a driver's license from home and you do not know how to drive well, go through driving school and learn how to do it appropriately. This is basically for those that have been driving fine from home and you have an out of country driver's license to back it up. Do not leave it back home. Take it along with you. No matter how short your stay is, you might be able to still drive if the need arises. That's the reason why we're doing this, so that it does not, what you can do in 2 months, it won't make it a year for you because you left something important back home. So that's why we're saying, if you are traveling, do not leave your driver's license back home. Take it with you, no matter how short your journey would be. Visiting for a short time, going to school, immigration process, always carry your driver's license with you. Alrighty, so the video is long already. I don't want to put too much into this video. That's the only thing we are going to discuss today. There are quite a number of things also that I'll still tell you later that will help you how to prepare for your driver's license when you want to apply. Some of the things you have to know and all that. We'll be able to talk about that by the time we get to that aspect. So ladies and gentlemen, relax, enjoy yourself, and please hit that notification button, subscribe also, so that at least we can journey together on this program, so we know how to make life better for ourselves by the time we get to the country we are immigrating or we are traveling to. Thank you very much for your time. It's your guy again. I am Double Joy. Over and out. See you next time. Oh, double.